It's a pleasure having you join us tonight, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Shonwa Kimaloe here in Abuja. Let me give you an update of what is going on. So it does look like there is a standing order from the presidential villa. President Bola Tinubu is giving an order to all his ministers to start a presentation of their scorecards to Nigerians. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, made the announcement today at the very first edition of the 2025 Presidential Ministerial Briefing Series in Abuja. Mr. Idris says that the president remains determined to ensure that his administration engage and communicates robustly with Nigerians. Take a listen to him.
Oil and gas reforms in 2024 made Nigeria the most attractive destination for oil and gas investments in Africa, as well as attracted over $5 billion in signed investment commitments. In July 2024, the Supreme Court issued a landmark ruling empowering local governments with a level of financial autonomy hitherto unseen in the history of our country. This year, we are kickstarting another edition of the ministerial press briefing that usually occurs at the National Press Center within the premises of the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, to also intimate you with the fact that the ministerial press briefing, as directed by Mr. President, is commencing next week.
Tonight, the question we'll be asking is, does anarchy loom in the PDP? Because there's one man who said anarchy was looming, but tonight, is that the reason? Is it because of the anarchy that is exited the Labour Party? And what are his reasons, he'll be telling us. But also, tonight I'll be getting more insight into the Corruption Perception Index. Did Nigeria do well in it? And what are the criteria, the indices, all of the elements that went into the judgment that led to the report by Transparency International? Are there more, or is there more corruption in the Tinubu government or in Nigeria under Tinubu's watch? Some of these will be reviewed tonight on the program. But before we get into our conversation, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The House of Representatives is calling for the immediate suspension of the proposed hike in telecom tariff. The House is also decrying the poor service delivery from telecom operators and calls for improved services before the increase can happen. In the meantime, a bill for an act to make provisions for regulatory bodies for organ harvesting, transplant and donations has killed second reading in the House. Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, has expressed confidence that nothing will stand in the way of his victory in 2027 should he decide to seek a second term. Governor Fubara made this assertion during a solidarity visit by the 3 local government areas that make up the Kalabari ethnic nationality. The governor, however, emphasized that his administration is more focused on delivering meaningful impact in the state rather than the duration of its time in office.
Don't need to worry. When we get to that bridge, we will cross the bridge. We will cross it in a way that our enemy will be struggling. They will see where we're passing.
And Governor Hyacinth Alea of Benue State has tasked indigenes of the state to put up a united front and confront its challenges, building on her culture and values. The governor made the call while launching the state symbols like the coat of arms, flag and state anthem. The governor believes it is one way the state can get better.
They represent the very essence of who we are as a people. They reflect our values, our culture, and our history.
And the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has reaffirmed its commitment to electoral integrity ahead of key polls in 2025 and 2026. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu said this at the first regular meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security in Abuja. Professor Yakubu notes that while arrests have been made in previous elections, the fight against electoral corruption must intensify, especially with party primaries approaching.
Our experience in the management of logistics during the last Ondo State governorship election provides the template for future elections. Better coordination in the deployment of security and electoral officials contributed to the early commencement of polls and the peaceful conduct of the election.
To Adamawa State, where a coalition of civil society groups have commended President Bola Tinubu for being responsive to the concerns of some segments of the tax reform bills introduced by his administration. At a press conference in Yola, the state capital, the spokesman of the group, Mr. Dauda Edife, commends the policies of President Tinubu's administration geared towards economic reforms.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Let's get right into the heart of our very first conversation, and it's about the Labour Party. It was the bride of the Nigerian 2023 elections. There was some kind of upset, if you look at it. A third arm of opposition in Nigeria's politics, or where you say that it came with a wave that surprised a lot of people. And one of such persons that was in the forefront of pushing the narratives and the message of the political party, and that of Mr. Peter Obi, who was presidential candidate, was Kenneth Okonkwo. And today, the former spokesperson for the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council has resigned his membership of the party. Mr. Okonkwo was a Labour Party campaign spokesperson in the 2023 election. In his resignation statement, he says the Labour Party has been afflicted by internal and leadership crisis. And tonight, I'm being joined by Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Okonkwo, for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being here again. And thank you, viewers, for joining in.
Does anarchy looms this time around in Labour Party?
It's not looming. It has arrived.
In Labour Party?
Absolutely. Like I've always said, anarchy is the absence of authority or non-recognition of authority. Now, in Labour Party, there is no authority that is governing Labour Party.
What do you mean? There is Mr. Abure, which the court has said is the authentic national chairman of the Labour Party.
I don't think I have read any court decision that said Abure is the authentic national chairman. What happened is that all the court they went to, because they knew that there was no convention, so they always avoid the issue of convention. They will come to court and say, court, we need to have our agents in Ondo. You have to give us power. ANEC is precluding us from fielding our agents. If we don't have the agents, we are doomed. There is only one leadership. Give us order to field our agents under the leadership of Abure. That is the trickish and cunning way they have been going about the issue of leadership of Labour Party. The issue of leadership, simplicity, has not really come under the scrutiny of the court. Because the courts will tell you we don't have jurisdiction to even determine who will be the leader of a political party, that it is the internal affair of a political party. So the issue here is that in democracy, according to section 82 subsection 3 of the Electoral Act, party executives are elected by the members of the party or their duly elected delegates. Anything outside that does not represent the party, does not reflect any executive membership of any organ of a political party. Remember that in section 223 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they said the party executives must emerge in a democratic manner. And they define what democratic manner means. They must be in power not exceeding 4 years. Since I came into Labour Party, I have not been invited to come to any convention whatsoever. I have not witnessed any congress at the ward, local or state level. And in the constitution of the party, Article 15, 2, 3, 4, the tenure of the ward, local government and state executive is 3 years. You and I, we have been here. Have you ever heard that Labour Party conducted any congress at any of these levels. So basically, there is non-existent Labour Party in all these levels.
But they
by
said
the constitution of
there was
Labour Party.
There was, according to I have spoken to the legal advisor of the party,
yes,
Mr. Kende, who said that there was a validly conducted neck of the party. And what Mr. Abure was telling the court was that as of October last year, he told the court that he was validly elected by the party at the demise and the death of the former national chairman of the party. And as of that 2021, he naturally and officially and legally, according to him, became the national chairman of the party. And they also went further to whatever meeting you and some others subscribe to in the Abia State Government House or in Uma here, that was illegal. It was not understood by the constitution of the party.
Oh, well, he has just said exactly what that executive is known for. Lies and balderdash. The only legal thing that ever happened in Labour Party that I'm aware of is that meeting that happened in Uma here. In the Labour Party, by the constitution they wrote even before I entered, the National Executive Council is made up of the elected president and vice, governor and deputy, then the NLC presidents and secretaries, TUC president and secretaries, and the head of Women Commission in the Labour Party, and the NWC members. It was the INEC that declared the seat of Abure and his cohorts vacant, not the Labour Party.
But the court has eventually said that was not to be.
I just told you what happened in the court. That they went to court and say INEC is denying them the
but are you aware of the
agents? That was what went to court.
Are you aware of the Abure-led NEC meeting that was conducted, where it was said that an election was conducted?
Yes.
You are aware? You saw it on TV.
I said, how can an Abure, who is not a chairman of a national party, call any NEC meeting?
How is it not?
As at the time, like I told you, the Abia meeting held, INEC had declared that Labour Party had no national executive. INEC is the supervisory commission to political parties. So that's why I said anarchy has arrived. Because if INEC would tell you that this party has no executives and give the stakeholders the opportunity to fill up the gap pending convention.
On what structure is that meeting? What structure?
I just told you that in our constitution, that the governor, the deputy elected are members of NEC, and the presidents of NLC and TUC and the secretaries are members of NEC. So in the absence of NWC, these are the only legitimately recognized NEC members. And they met, and then they chose, because the NEC has a right by our constitution to choose the members of the NWC if between conventions vacancy emerges.
The way you are describing things, Mr. Okonkwo,
yes,
you are describing as though Abure is the problem that you have in the Labour Party.
I defended Abure more than any other human being. It's on record.
Is he your problem?
He can never be my problem. Why? I have not elicited any interest to contest for any electoral position.
But why are you using the basis of his action and inaction as a premise upon which you think that there is problem in the Labour Party? As far as Abure is concerned, there is no problem, only that some people want to take over the party from him and some of his members who are leaders of the party. Yeah. And according to him, he believes that the party is on the right track and cannot be hijacked.
Okay, let's put it this way. When I came into Labour Party, a lot of forces wanted to hijack Labour Party from Abure. I stood against it. You were aware, the Arabambi group, the Apampa group, they all came. I said, no. If you want to emerge as the leader of Labour Party, don't come through the window. Come through the door. I said, and I remember I told Arabambi this personally. I said, I have no personal interest in Abure, because he showed me the criminal things that Abure did. He showed it to me personally. I said, look, if you want to punish Abure, if you're a lawyer, you will know that you will go through the criminal procedure, not the civil procedure. That if you go through the civil procedure, you just want to use Abure's alleged criminality to hijack Labour Party. That I am defending the institution of Labour Party, not the person of Abure. That if you go through the criminal procedure, I have no business with that. Now, I was believing that Abure, with all this baggage, that when it comes to the convention time, he will respectfully step down on his own and then cede that national chairman to the North.
Were you invited to the NEC meeting?
No, I wasn't.
Did you hear about the NEC meeting?
Yes, I'm aware.
Was Peter Obi invited to the NEC meeting?
I wouldn't know.
Was the governor of Abia State invited to the NEC meeting?
He doesn't need to be invited. He's a member.
But was it there?
He is the head.
But was it there?
I said he's a member and he's the head. So he's the one who ought to invite others.
So that's the point I'm making.
Yes.
If Mr. Abure said there was a NEC meeting.
Abure cannot call a NEC meeting. If we were in a place where rule of law...
According to the constitution of the Labour Party,
yes,
the NEC meeting, as agreed by stakeholders and the caucus of the party, agree on a date, and it could be convened by the leadership of the party, which is the NWC.
No, NWC was non-existent when that meeting held by the authority of INEC, and there was no court decision then.
So it behoves on the governor of Abia State, Alex Oti,
absolutely,
to assume naturally the leadership of the party.
Absolutely.
As an elected official of the party, the only governor of the Labour Party. Do you think Abure is a problem of Labour Party?
He is.
And until he leaves, the party cannot be healed.
He's gone.
But the court system, he exists.
That is why the party is going. Because the party has no power to dictate any leadership to any people.
Now that you are jumping ship, Mr. Okunko, so you are giving up on the Labour Party.
First of all, I am not jumping any ship. I am simply escaping from a sinking ship.
Yeah, you have jumped out of the ship anyway.
No.
That's a matter of jumping.
I am saved.
Either you are jumping out or jumping.
That is sinking. That's a different thing. So
if the ship is sinking, you are jumping out of it.
That's what I'm saying. You know, you're jumping into safety. But let's put it this way. I came into politics for good governance. I didn't come into politics aspiring for any position. You know what Jesus Christ will say? He said, the kings of the Gentiles lord over people, but he that should be the greatest among you shall be your servant. I came to politics to serve because my faith made it upon me, put it upon me, that wherever I am, I should look for the interest of the people, being their servant. Now, when I came into Labour Party, I saw people who have not even tested any fortune in their lives, who is using Labour Party as a tool to enrich themselves. If a man is serious that in 2027 he wants to bring a Southern presidential candidate, how can that same man be coming from the South, angling to be the national chairman of that same party? That would be voodoo politics in Nigerian reality. Because what sunk PDP in the 2023 election was that sentiment that the presidency ought to be zoned to the South. Atiku Abubakar, having taken over the presidency, they pleaded with him, please cede the post of the national chairman to the South. He still refused, and PDP is where it is today. So anybody from Labour Party who is from the South and who is saying he wants to be the national chairman and wants to put a Southern presidential candidate in 2027 is simply dishonest, because he knows that the North cannot accept any party that does not have any northern input, either as the national chairman or the presidential candidate of the party. The South rejected it in PDP. So Abure is not looking for any Labour Party person to be president. He's looking for his pocket, because according to, realities, they are men of their pocket. They are men of, not men of the people.
Those are extreme,
men of power and of their pocket.
They're extreme allegations,
yes,
which you may not be able to solidly find evidence. If you say Abure is a man of his pocket,
oh sure,
I mean that's an extreme allegation.
What is extreme
to
in the
demean
fact?
or impugn on his integrity?
What is? I was just citing people. Arabambi came in and told the whole world that he has a criminal report from the police indicting Abure on certain issues. I saw it myself. Now, the National Treasurer of Labour Party came out openly and said Abure forged her signature to take money. Has Abure sued her? The former National Deputy Chairman of the Labour Party, one Mrs. Lebeke, came out and said Abure forged her signature. Has Abure sued her? So I have the right to tell you that this is a man who is a serial forger of people's signatures, because Paul came out openly to say it and he did nothing about it.
But should Mr. Abure take you on this legally? Can you defend what you are saying?
I said I just quoted sources which are public.
But doesn't mean that they are right.
Are you taking me on?
No,
I'm just
but it's a judgment on his person that the courts, which should be able to adjudicate whether Mr. Abure is a criminal or not, has not done.
First of all, I would so much appreciate him to do that tomorrow.
Really?
I said, what I'm saying is even a tip of the iceberg. I am an insider. And again, in law, if you cite a newspaper, for instance, there is nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying, I just called names and cited people who made comments. So they are not Kenneth Okonkwo's comments.
So the reason why you are against Mr. Abure is not only because you think that there are allegations of criminal nature against him. You are also saying that there might be some external influences and forces using Mr. Abure to destroy the Labour Party. Those are some of the things that you are describing. Is that really so?
Now, let's look at it this way. There was an Arabambi who said at all costs, Abure must be removed and Abure must go to jail. This was Arabambi's stand. I took him on that. The same Arabambi is telling you that Abure is the best thing that can happen to the Labour Party. The same set of people who are saying the ticket is no longer reserved for anybody are saying the ticket is reserved for P2B. Are they talking as people who are not being manipulated from outside? You can see it yourself.
So there are external forces who are manipulating the Labour Party.
There has to be external forces in any association that you belong to. You must anticipate it as given, because there must be spies from other parties in your own affair.
So Labour Party is infiltrated?
Like every other party. It is normal and natural. But it's unfortunate that it is the leadership that are the collaborators. If you, without reason, begin to accept the people who you were sending me to go and confront, Abure was sending me to confront the Arabambis, and then without reason, you're telling me you accepted them. What reason is that? The reason is because Arabambi them wanted to hijack the Labour Party from the back door. Now it is Abure that is trying to hijack the Labour Party from the back door. So they now have a common front, because they might now have a common principle. Abure them were telling us that the ruling party was sponsoring the Arabambi people. They were saying it then openly. So now that Arabambi is with him, I have the reason to say he has joined the people that the ruling party is sponsoring.
You are still a member of the Labour Party up until the 25th?
Yes.
So as of today, you are still a member?
Because I dated my retirement, as in, but you know, I am on terminal leave.
So you are returning to the APC?
First of all, I have told you before, and at the risk of being misunderstood, that I don't use the word never in anything that I am doing. Never belongs to God. But why did I leave APC in the first place? They were a party that was moving Nigeria in the wrong direction, security-wise, economy-wise. And I waited to see whether if there is a new government, when there is a change of power, we could see a new lease. Then Tinubu came in and then decided to choose a fellow Muslim to become his vice president. In addition to the security problem, in addition to the economic problem. So Tinubu now displayed that he is a man that is cantankerous to the spirit of diversity. I was telling my Muslim brothers that it's not about religious sentiments. It's about that a man who does not recognize our religious diversity will not recognize our ethnic diversity. That is simply a man who is cantankerous to the spirit of our diversity. What is happening today? The Muslims are suffering most in this country because it's about using them to acquire power. He just gave posts to the north without power and gave power to his people. So if you're talking about my going back to APC, if I say I'm a man looking for good governance for Nigeria, and I see a man who has chastised Nigerians with scorpions and serpents, who have made Nigerians to start paying 1,000 something rather than 195 naira that they were paying before he came into office. If I say I'm going back to APC to meet a country or a party where the leaders, a general who is a man of the DG of NYSC, is still picked on the road like a common criminal. We are in my place, Southeast. You could see how a member of the House of Assembly was killed and his corpse deposited along the road. If I see all these things and I get back to APC, then I am not serious when I say I'm fighting for good governance. Let me tell you, I will be the first to admit if APC changes today and is doing good for Nigeria. But don't tell me that out of 6 geopolitical zones, a man came in and is choosing only people from Southwest, not even all Yoruba, the qualified ones, but his own loyalists. As I've always told you, Jagabanic proteges, tainted with a Miloko philosophy. Then you want me to go back to such a party? I resign on principle. And until those issues are addressed, I remain opposed to any party that will not recognize our diversity. I am not in politics to jive. I am in politics for the people. The greatness I'm enjoying today is from the love of the people. When I want to take a decision, I look at what is right or wrong, what is true or false.
Mr. Okonkwo, you said Peter Obi was the best option for Nigeria in 2023.
I still maintain that.
Up until now.
In 2023.
But 2027,
yes.
Will you still work for Peter Obi?
You already know my stand on that.
You said you would not. That
whatever happened in 2023 should go with 2023.
You said Peter Obi, Bola Tinubu and Atiku should step aside.
I said it and I maintain it. Because in Nigeria, people will not give you their mandate and you treat it with levity. You must do everything decisively to secure it. Unfortunately, nature has bestowed on us the duty that in Nigeria you will not only win election, but you have to fight for your mandate. It has become part of our democratic.
So what party are you going to?
And remember, I told you that the indecisiveness of what happened in Labour Party was the last straw that broke the camel's back.
And you blame Peter Obi for it?
I blame everybody, including myself. We must all take collective responsibility for the anarchy in Labour Party. I saw it coming. I am a trained administrator before I even became an actor. And when I see crisis coming 1,000 kilometers, I cite it. And I'll tell people, let's take it out. When I was saying anarchy looms, we have not come to this level. Now we've come to a level where you have caretaker committee that is chosen by all the members, stakeholders of Labour Party. And you have another set of clowns claiming that they are leadership of the party. And they will use all means to sustain themselves in power. They will use all legal abracadabra. They will use all, because they are looking for their pockets.
So who will then, if you think Peter Obi
For now,
is not good enough
on the next party,
the APC is not good enough, I'm not. Are you going to the PDP? Or which party have you decided to go?
For now, I have not made a decision on the party I want to go in. And if I do not see any party that has clear direction on the welfare of the Nigerian people, I will sit down and take it up in prayers. I would not join any party, except to my own understanding, it's a party that has a clear direction to the welfare of the people.
So Labour Party is a gunner as far as you're concerned. It's not a platform that can be of good to any Nigerian going forward.
Labour Party cannot even rescue itself. So how can it talk about rescuing Nigeria? I've just told you.
What about Peter Obi and a possible coalition that can change things around?
You just say coalition. That is the best alternative that the opposition people would have to take.
If they take Peter Obi, would you work for him?
Now, you're coming into democracy. If the whole opposition should come together as one, and I decide that I have seen that this collectivity have the interest of Nigerians at heart, whoever they bring out, if I'm in the mood, why not?
On a final,
I'm not against anybody.
On a final note, where do you see this nation headed, and what do you think is the panacea or the solution to our present challenges?
Free, fair, credible, verifiable, and periodic election. If we have this, 20 years from now, Nigeria will be a first world nation. There's something about Nigeria. They know how to adjust to any situation once there is honesty in that situation. Oh, how I miss Jonathan now. If only because we're moving towards the direction of free, fair, credible, and verifiable election. I will not guarantee you that democracy will not trump up some crazy leaders from time to time, but democracy will still take them out when democracy realizes that these leaders are crazy. But if you don't have free, fair, credible election, you will bring crazy leaders and they will crazily destroy the system, and there will not be any opportunity to take them out.
Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo, who is a spokesperson of the Peter Obi presidential campaign in 2023, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We'll take a break, everyone, but when we return, the leader of the Transparency International in Nigeria, the executive director of CISLAC, Mr. Awal Ramsajani, will be joining me next, and we'll be looking at the Nigeria's Corruption Perception Index as reported for 2024. Is it better or getting worse? After this break, everyone, join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So let's tell you about what happened today. Nigeria's climbed 5 spots and the 2024 Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index, ranking 140 out of the 180 countries with a score of 26 out of 100. Might be a low score, but it looks like there is an improvement in the ranking. But what does this mean? This marks slight improvement from the previous year when the country ranked 145th with a score of 25. The index published today measures perceived levels of public sector corruption on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 indicates high levels of corruption and 100 means very clean. The organization defines corruption as bribery, diversion of public funds, misuse of public office for personal gain, and the inability of governments to contain corruption. Tonight, to give us insight into this latest report, the Transparency International wing in Nigeria, headed by Mr. Awal Ramsajani, is also the executive director of CISLAC, is live for us here in Abuja. So thanks so much indeed, and it's good to see you.
Thank you, and good evening, Nigerians.
Is the perception looking better compared to 2023?
Well, I mean, it's better than to remain stagnated or than to backslide, even though it's not a significant improvement. But I think, we should also appreciate and celebrate the collective effort that has been put in place, by the country in order to attain this, even though it is just one score different. We believe there are a number of reasons that even help us to reach this report. the number of prosecution that has happened in the country, the number of recovery that have also happened in the country, and the resilience of the civil society to insist that we must do the right things. These are some of the pointers that actually give us this opportunity to even rise up. But I think also the determination by the various anti-corruption agencies to continue to do this work, even at the expense of their life. You recall that some of them have been killed. And if you look at the security, the police, the army, they are being killed in this country, and no even national honor for those people that are sacrificing their lives. And, they continue to see how they can contribute towards eradication, the menace of corruption, because corruption has seriously devastated, and led to underdevelopment in the country. In fact, it actually brings about the risks in the security sector, because when you have, corrupt public officials allowing arms and ammunition through our seaport, our border, our land border, for some for unfortunate people to come and be killing Nigerians, and even money is budgeted for the security is not actually, accounted for, like we've seen in so many instances where even the money is being stolen, and even Nigerian government had tried some of the people. In the UK, recently also there was another scandal where money that is meant for violent ammunition actually was diverted. So with all this, situation, you see EFCC, ICPC, every day they are working to ensure that the country is rid out of corruption. If you look at the number of the security personnel that got killed, and not any sympathy is even coming from the government, is so devastating, so bad. Then you have life insurance. So, and civil society also continue, despite the bullying, attack, intimidation, harassment by those who benefit from corruption in the within the maybe perhaps the public officials. They continue to agitate and demand for improve, in the governance system in the country. The level at which some people are buying even appointment or using dirty money to capture power during the election will continue to, slide us back. And that's why we have to wake up and save our country, save ourselves from the disaster of corruption.
Mr. Ramsajani, let's break it down. The past government had criticized TI, and when you speak and when reports come out, it's as if it's Transparency International against Nigerian government. When they say, oh, we're making effort, Transparency International is biased and all of that. Let's make it clear. In your report, you had, in the synopsis, you have said that this is done by reputable, independent organizations.
Yes.
And that they look at a lot of variables and indices to judge this. So in any sense, it is what we can go home and believe, isn't it?
Absolutely. So let me also make it clear. Transparency International Corruption Perception Report is not making an assessment of the work of the anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria, vis-a-vis EFCC, ICPC, Code of Conduct, and INDBIN, NFIU. No. It is actually looking at corruption in public sector. You will agree with
issues
me.
Issues of bribery?
Yeah.
Racketeering, contracts?
Absolutely. You will agree with me that many Nigerians cannot even apply for admission in the university and get it on merit.
Is that also captured?
This is all part of the public corruption thing that we are talking about.
So it's basically corruption in the public space.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are not assessing the work of EFCC or ICPC, no. We are looking at how Nigerians are every day facing extortion, corruption. If you go on the street, because of 200 naira, some happy policemen can kill you if you don't pay that. For you as a driver carrying load from the north to the south or vice versa, if you don't have money to be paying, on checkpoint, you are likely to suffer in the hands of those happy guys. Secondly, if you are looking for anything, including bed sick in hospital, you are likely going to be confronted with corruption there. So these are things that Nigerians are facing. So they are not manufactured, they are not things. So anybody who is coming to dismiss this, issue, why is EFCC every day arresting people if there's no corruption in the country? Why is ICPC arresting a lot of people? ICPC have been collecting money back from the National Assembly and contractors who claim to be doing constituency project that they didn't do. Go and check. ICPC have recovered billions of naira, from the hands of some public officials. In fact, the level at which these agencies are working, it's just that Nigerians, they don't actually understand how much sacrifice they are making to make it better.
Yeah, just for a lot of Nigerians to understand the extent and the depth of the report that you have released. People imagine that we're talking about the billions and the big monies, not knowing that some basic things, as though you're coming into the country and you find 5, 6, 7 agencies of government asking, bros, what do you bring? You go to an agency of government, you just want to file for simple things as a birth certificate. They ask you, what do you carry? And you go to every checkpoint and you see police literally are not even asked. They are not checking anything, no intelligence, nothing. No. The only thing is you wind down your glass and the next thing is, okay, bless us there. Yeah. I mean, are these also manifesting or contributing to the perception of corruption in Nigeria?
Absolutely. When we talk about public sector corruption, we are talking about, public, agencies and conduct. And you could see that from the the higher institutions to the hospitals or healthcare system to even electricity, do you know how much we have spent in the name of power in this country, and yet Nigerians are in darkness? Do you know how much Nigerians have spent in the name of water project in this country? Do you know how much, fake interventions we have done in various sectors, including areas where you have privatized those entities? You are still injecting billions and trillions in the name of, intervention. Whose interest is in that? So I think instead of government officials dismissing this, we should see this as a wake-up call to fix our problems, block leakages. Our financial institutions are still being used to finance terrorism. It's a shame that Nigerian financial institutions are being used to finance terrorism. Yet we say we are fighting Boko Haram, we are fighting insurgency, and yet these guys are not even hiding anywhere. The last government told us that they have names of all the terrorists, financiers, and nobody has been prosecuted to today. So, and look, oil theft. The oil theft in this country has become like an official, thing that has been accepted. It is only in Nigeria, out of all the oil-producing countries, that anything called oil theft is actually, accepted.
Mr. Rafsanjani, it will be interesting to you that things even when they say meters are supposed to be discharged for free, you see people who say, oh yeah, whatever that you are supposed to collect for free, but bring something for us to facilitate you to get it. You will in fact see efforts of government or non-governmental organization to deliver free items, bedding materials, mosquito net, free. You will see free, exactly. But people will still sell it. Rice that is supposed to be distributed as palliatives, free, people will still sell it. But you mentioned some things that are very critical. Before we go into some of the areas you think that we can improve on to help to our perception and help eradicate or take corruption out of the equation, you mentioned the issues that have been weaknesses into us achieving a corrupt-free country. Yes. You said judicial corruption. Exactly. You mentioned state capture and nepotism. You mentioned oil theft and subsidy fraud. You mentioned corruption in the power sector and public procurement, tax evasion and selective tax waivers, shrinking civic space and democratic decline, lack of political integrity, corruption in the security sector, opaqueness of public institutions, and the last one, which is the 10th one, wasteful expenditures. These are 10 that you highlighted, exactly, which are the vulnerabilities and the weaknesses of the system that is raising the risk of Nigeria's corrupt nature.
Exactly, exactly. So in order to overcome this, and it is possible, you can overcome it when there's a political will to deal with this. For example, we've been calling on the government to ensure judicial reforms so that corruption in the judiciary can actually be eradicated. Right now, Nigerians have lost confidence in the judiciary. You could see how some people are procuring judgment. You could see how some people have turned judiciary into like their personal estate. deciding, on everything because they believe they have appointed some judges, and therefore the judges will give them favorable decision. Secondly, you see how political parties and electoral process have also become totally commercialized. And if you are coming to do service, you cannot then turn political system, the election, to be a mercantilist thing. It's a business. Many people that got elected, they have to borrow money in many instances to contest the election, which means that when they get there, they have to find a way to recover that. It is no longer a service for the people. Again, when you look at procurement, despite the public procurement law that we have, they are still undermining the public procurement. They are not complying with it. Again, the restriction or the undermining of the civil space, Nigerians are suffering in the hands of those who do not wish democracy to flourish. For example, people express their desire to protest against hunger, poverty, insecurity, corruption. Then the next thing, you kill them or you arrest minors. The shameful thing that has happened, despite the fact that President has ordered investigation on those officers that have arrested minors, that have also killed people. Till today, the parents of these children, nobody has gone to see them. Nobody has compensated them. These are all part of things that is making people to lose hope and confidence in the administrative justice system. Again, you cannot continue to have the kind of political party system that you have. So you have to carry serious reform. Equally important in the security sector, we cannot continue to budget trillion and trillion, yet Nigerians are not sleeping, yet Nigerians cannot move from one place safely. So where are all the money? Who is taking the money? Why is it that even the official, the security personnel, including police, the army, many of them, they are not well equipped, they are not even given even their welfare is not properly given. When they retire, you see them protesting for their entitlement. This is a shame. We cannot continue, in a country that God has blessed like Nigeria, with that people, they will serve for 30 years, 35 years, and for them to get their entitlement, they have to do protest. That has to change.
You mentioned something that is very critical in part of your positive trend or suggestion to the solutions,
yes,
which I think is very important. And if the Tinubu government wants to do good and also improve the system, you talk about the digitization of government services. You said the adoption of e-governance solutions, including digital tax collection and procurement processes to enhance transparency and reduce opportunities for bribery.
Exactly.
Reduction in the interference, human interference in the discharge of government government activities will be very critical.
Absolutely.
Can you speak more on this?
Okay, so we appreciate the effort of Federal Inland Revenue recently and the custom that they have actually discovered 1.something trillion that was not even declared or that was not captured even in the 2025 bill that was sent by the president. But later this month, they were able to say, look, this money is still available. Look, you have multiple agencies collecting taxes that they don't actually remit to government. Even those ones that are supposed to, like, for example, the oil company, they are refusing to pay taxes because of impunity and because of the connivance and collaboration. So we are saying that if we can digitalize all this, especially the procurement process, this issue of man no man, or you just use your position to give the contract to your girlfriend or to your boyfriend or to yourself, because now many of the public officials, they are not even giving any contract to anybody. Many of them allegedly they are giving the contract to themselves, including those ones that they claim to be lawmakers. Some of them allegedly they are also executing this in through proxy. So if you can digitalize this and make information available, if you go to other countries, everything you click, it is there on the system. Why can't we invite technology so that we can reduce corruption? I also appreciate the immigration. Now, you have also, they have introduced a lot of technology that you can actually, obtain your international passport with less human interferences. If we can apply all this into all the sector, it will help greatly to reduce this corruption that we are seeing. Some people, if you don't sleep with them as a female, you will not pass exam. You will not even get admission. You will not even get that job. So why should we be doing this to ourselves? We believe that using technology and digitalization will help, in terms of unbundling this corruption. There was something, started, in the previous administration, whereby all the agencies, the revenue the money they collected is, being actually seen, but somehow everything has stopped. So we were able to identify so many agencies that are putting money into what they call project accounts. Billions of naira will go into an individual in that ministry in the name of project account. So that system was able to begin to identify that, and we recommended the government to stop that. I don't know why they have decided to continue with the game that they are doing. So the country is losing a lot of money through this fraudulent project account.
So, in summary, and on a final note, so corruption perception under Bola Tinubu in the last 1 year has really improved. That's what it means.
Well, it has improved. At least we are not stagnated. We have made 1 point from 25 to 26. Though we are looking at 100 points, and we are at just 26. If the Nigerian government can accept and implement the recommendations that we are providing to them, I believe that Nigeria can actually make it. And there's every tendency with all the sacrifice that the anti-corruption agencies are doing. Look at how EFCC staff was killed, in both Lagos and somewhere, I think, in Anambra. Nobody, the president did not even say anything. In other country, if you are doing this to the nation and you are killed, the president of that country will recognize and actually appreciate the effort that we have
I
put.
see that there is a poor outing from in the region, and you see more of the European countries topping the doing good in this perception. So it's more of an West African problem, because more of the countries within the region didn't really do well.
No, it's not only just Africa. If you look at the index, we in many of the years we rank America low, we rank Canada low, we rank Germany, Switzerland low, we rank even UK low. So it's not just about Africa. It's just that African leaders who benefit from corruption, they are so intolerant, they are not interested to address and block the leakages. Whereas this other country will say, okay, how do we improve, in the areas that we are backsliding? That's what you see with other countries. But in the case of some countries in Africa, their leaders will come, oh, we don't want this. Meanwhile, internally, because you don't need Transparency International to tell you that there's a problem of corruption, ICPC has done its rating, and it shows some agencies like judiciary and the police as top in terms of corruption. Another UNODC with the National Bureau of Statistics, they've also run similar thing, and they found some agencies of government top on, in terms of corruption. So you don't need Transparency International.
Right.
If you are serious about fixing the problem, already in Nigeria, homegrown, system have shown you that there are lapses, there are gaps, and you need to fill up those things. What Transparency International does is simply to wake you up to fix your problem.
We are not happy. To it.
Yeah, we are not happy that our country is not doing very well, because if you travel out, you are being seen, as a Nigerian, not as Shaun O. Rafsanjani. No. It is the country. The image of the country is going down, and we have to do everything possible at both individual and governmental level to rescue the situation.
All right. Hawa Rafsanjani is the Executive Director of CISLAC, the partner of the Transparency International in Nigeria. Thank you so much for speaking to this report, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure I'll see you next time. God bless Nigeria.